Welcome to the After Stangs Pony Show. This is your host, Jonathan McGill. Here on the After Stangs Show, we do a great job of breaking down everything from this instant reaction of the SMU Mustangs beating Stanford 34-10. Want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, Northwest Insurance Agency, for helping us get this opportunity to share with you guys. So make sure you guys hit up Northwest Insurance Agency. The After Stangs Pony Show starts now.
When you clock in every day, there's always that chance that something can happen. You don't know when, where, or how, but accidents are inevitable. As a business owner, you don't want to be left holding the bag whether something happens to an employee or customer. General liability insurance covers everything from a slip or fall all the way down to a paper cut. At Northwest Insurance Agency, we will get you any necessary coverage that pertains to your field. So get covered under the sombrero by calling 855-88-75656 or visit us at nwagencies.com.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody. Billy Embody. 1, 2, 3, let me go.
Just as we had recapped and just as we had mentioned earlier, the SMU Mustangs win a much-fought conference win, 34-10 over the Stanford Cardinal. Coming into this game, SMU knew that this was an opportunity for their offense, their defense, and special teams to try to come together and play a complete game versus a good opponent in Stanford Cardinal. The offense for SMU was humming today. We're kind of what we're accustomed to from seeing from Kevin Jennings. Kevin Jennings was 22 of 30, as efficient as he's always been. 247 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the big key for Kevin was 0 turnovers, right? Coming into the season, it kind of had a streak of, being advantageous with the football, taking chances. It seemed today that he was really, really poised, scrambling around the pocket, extending plays. Chris Johnson Jr., who had an excellent game, had, a 96-yard or 87-yard touchdown. Looked dynamic on that. You see the actual speed that he has that these SMU coaches and fan base was really excited to see. Romello Brinson, Jordan Hudson, Ymir Knight, we're starting to see that this SMU offense has a lot of guys that can explode for catches, explode for explosive plays. Kevin is trusting everybody. RJ Maryland continue to have a good game. Matthew Hibner does what he does, blocking on the perimeter, doing everything that he does. And I would say one of the big keys in this game was special teams, right? You see on the opening drives, SMU goes down, stalls out, punts the ball, Stanford muffs the punt, and SMU gets the ball as well. And so Wade McSparron had an excellent game, had 2 punts, which is huge. And huge for the SMU defense, only giving up 10 points today. You look at it, the first half was very, very dominant, I would say. Stanford couldn't get anything going offensively. SMU finishes with 6 sacks. Might be the game season most in the game for this year. I would say it seems like they were really affecting Ben Gobranson back there. Couldn't really get anything going offensively. They had the one drive, one touchdown to end the game to end the half with 35 seconds left. But outside of that, really wasn't a lot of explosive plays. Seemed like it was a little bit of miscues on SMU's part more than Stanford's execution. I would say that, Stanford, they finished with 353 total yards. Time of possession was 36, which is a long time. You're playing a pro-style offense. You know that they're going to, take their time in between plays, going to different personnels. 11 personnel, which is 1 receiver, 1 tight end, 1 running back. 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 1 running back, 21 personnel, a whole bunch of different personnels. And I think that Stanford did a good job in trying to mix it up, but I think SMU did an excellent job in matching those personnels, getting off the field. That huge 4th down stop at the 1-yard line, I think kind of set the tempo for how this game was going to go. Have to give a huge shout out to Justin Medlock. I don't know the records. Seems like that had to be a record, 96-yard interception, pick 6, that kind of sealed it. When Stanford was driving, could have cut it to make it a 1-possession game. But, Justin Medlock makes a huge play and gets an interception for a touchdown. Never seen him run as fast as that. And a great job by everybody else, picking up blocks down the way to make sure that he gets into the end zone. I think that moving forward, SMU can take this momentum, right? It was another 4th quarter lead, right? another week, and the team is driving again, but SMU finds a way to get off the field, and not just get off the field, flip the field and make it a touchdown, and then get an opportunity to really kind of ice the game after that. So I know that, Coach Lashley, Coach Simons, Coach Woods, they're all doing a great job in making sure that this team learns to finish a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. But I think as a SMU fan, you have to be encouraged of what you saw today when momentum was kind of reeling the other way, being able to grab the momentum, hold on to the rope, and go and finish the game. So now let's hear from Rhett Lashley in his post-game press conference.
Man, really, really proud of our guys. To go 2-0 in the league, off to a great start. It was good to get to be at home for those 2 weeks. But I think Stanford's much improved. Really good against the run, as you can see, other than the one long run. We didn't run the football very well today, but we got the one long run, and that helped. And so proud of our defense. I mean, again, played a really good first half other than the last 30 seconds, but to get a goal line stand again on the one, help them do a field goal another time. Obviously the pick late in the game, running all the way back. Like they're moving the ball on us, but we're bowing up when we need to. And that's really at the end of the day what makes a difference in college football is holding people to field goals, keeping them out of the end zone. People are going to move the football at our level. And I just think, I usually don't focus on this kind of stuff, but today we just won our 19th straight regular season game, and that's 10 straight to start ACC play. Like, it's just kind of hard to believe. We started in this league last year, and we won our first 10 games in the league. And so proud of our staff, our administration, everybody associated with our school, our fan base, and most importantly, the players last year and this year. I hope we don't have time to sit around and dwell on it, but I hope our fan base and everybody who loves SMU will think about that for a minute. I'm sure that's never been done before. Like, there's no way a team's ever entered a conference and won their first 10 games in a regular season. It's just kind of hard to believe. And so it doesn't mean we've gotten anywhere near where we want to go, but I think it shows that we belong here. We belong at this level. We're excited about what we can do in the future. And it's just when you really think about it, that's pretty crazy. So we're humbled and fortunate to do that. And now we get to go on the road and play kind of the standard of our league. So we're excited about that opportunity.
Coach, CJ had a big game, obviously some pretty incredible playmaking throughout the game. Are you expecting to utilize him more going forward, add some extra carries? Yeah, I mean, we brought CJ here for what you saw today. CJ's explosive, he's fast. I mean, you saw the run in week one. He's still young. He's a redshirt freshman that hadn't played a ton of running back at the college level. And candidly, he probably needs 10 to 12 pounds, but that'll happen for next year. But so the in between the tackles over and over is probably going to be, he can do it, but just for 15, 20 carries. But I think he showed you today the explosion he can have. I mean, the touchdown run was inside zone. It wasn't like a toss on the outside. And then obviously when Kevin made that incredible play, he still had to go about another 30 or 40. He can give us, him and Derek McFall, you saw Derek too, they can give us some explosive elements to our offense, whereas TJ and the other guys are more kind of downhill at you. And obviously we got the tight ends and the receivers on the outside. So yeah, we need Chris and those guys to keep being explosive playmakers for us. So what he did today was huge for us in a game where we weren't going to line up and run the football for 4 quarters on them. They're one of the better run defenses out there, but he gave us the ability to be explosive. It only takes one to go 87. So.
You talked about your defense bending but not breaking.
Yeah.
And given the fact that a week ago your guys stopped Syracuse on 3rd and 4th down twice, are you surprised that Stanford then took a field goal off the scoreboard today to try to extend that drive?
That's tough. Probably not because it was 4th and 1. Like, if I'm frank, 10-3 is great. It's a 1-score game. It's early in the game. Like, but I get 4th and it was a true 1. It wasn't more than 1. And they ran it and got it right. I mean, you play to win. So I wouldn't have been shocked either way. But he's probably knowing I'm not going to win this game with field goals. So it makes sense to me. Wasn't a shot.
Got 6 sacks today with that defense. Do you feel like the defensive line is kind of shaping up? Like last year you had an incredible defensive line. Do you feel like this year's unit's kind of living up to that standard?
We're getting better. We're getting better. Early on we had 2 or 3 sacks early. I mean, I thought we affected the quarterback well at the beginning and at the end there. And we didn't have to blitz every time. We did blitz some and we're mixing it up well. But we're getting better, which we thought we would. I mean, when you lose 9 starters, you're just breaking in a lot of new guys. And so it's been good to see Isaiah Smith and Cam Robertson start to become who they've always been here, and Jeffrey and Terry and those guys inside. I know I'm leaving some of those guys out that were making plays. And even when we weren't getting sacks, I thought we were affecting the quarterback. And so, yeah, that's obviously helping.
The defense, shutting them out in the fourth quarter. I know the interception was a huge play, obviously, but then to come back around and force a 3 and out and just kind of slam the door, that feeling of just winning the fourth quarter 10-0.
Yeah, we started the second half really well, right? We got a 3 and out, I think, or we got to stop. They may have got 1 first down, and then we went down and scored in 4 or 5 plays on offense. So right then we started to finish the second half better than we had. Offensively, we had a drive or 2 where we didn't execute very well, particularly on 3rd down the whole game, and that's really why we weren't able to score more. But defense hung in there, to your point. We held them to a field goal, and then I guess the defense got tired of waiting. They decided to pick it off and run it back, and I'm good with that.
Did you call for the behind-the-back pass? If not, what went through your head when you saw him do it?
No, we knew he was going to do it. So we had ran a version of that play McFall scored on last week where he flipped it. So we knew they would overplay and put everybody out there, which there was a bunch of people out there. So it was actually designed to be the 5th play of the game, but we didn't get to the 5th play of the game in the first drive. So we finally got back to that hash, and I knew Thursday when we put it in, Coach King and I were talking about it, and we didn't say anything to Kevin. We just had a feeling we'd go out to walk through, and sure enough, we get out there and he's working with RJ, flipping it behind his back, And then they run, hey, can you do it? I'm like, he can do it. I don't care. Guys are going to have fun, and he can do it. So to us, it was, he had probably done it 15 times, didn't miss it once. So I was like, yeah, sure, man, let it rip. Just don't miss.
Is that a game, one of those things that you pick up from somewhere?
No. I'm sure Patrick Mahomes has done it at some point, but we didn't tell Kevin to do it, but we were pretty not shocked when he decided he wanted to do it. And look, we're going to have fun here. Winning's hard. We're going to enjoy it. Our kids are going to have fun. Man, if they can do it, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to let them do that stuff. They enjoy it. And like I said, he can pull it off. And RJ had a pretty good run with it. So.
Welcome back, everybody. After Rhett Lashley's press conference, you can watch the full press conference video at ontheponyexpress.com. Subscribe for just $1 for your first week. I'm Billy Embody, Dean Ralsky, of course, Jonathan McGill leading things off for us here on the After Stangs Show. We want to remind you guys, with the win for SMU, we got to eat.
Yeah,
Rhett Lashley said he was hungry in the post-game press conference to close things out, and it's a great time for you guys to head to Mignon in Plano and get your free dessert on Sundays. Go to Open Table, make your reservation, do brunch, do dinner, mention On the Pony Express, and get free dessert with our friends at Mignon in Plano. Former SMU offensive lineman Nick Natur and his family running an incredible food program. We got to get that off the screen because I am hungry too. But Mignon, really appreciate them supporting us at On the Pony Express. And of course, now that SMU is 2-0 in ACC play, big game at Clemson. Doesn't matter that the Tigers might be down a little bit this year. Book your trip with StatusJet. StatusJet.com. Had a couple people work with David Henry on trips for that weekend already. So things are stacking up. Make sure you get taken care of by the best, and that's with our friends at StatusJet. Get a discount on a round-trip flight when you book with David Henry and his team. He was pumped up about today's win over Stanford. And SMU really took it to Stanford once the offense kind of settled in, 2 opening 3 and outs for the offense. The start for SMU is certainly offensively kind of now an issue, I would say. 4 or 5 games in a row going 3 and out to start things out is not how you want to do it. But, they were able to settle down and for Jonathan, take care of a team well. Your alma mater. One of your alma maters.
Yeah,
so
100%.
What did you see as this game kind of unfolded on the sideline from the guys?
Yeah, I think, you start off the game and, your first, 15 plays usually offensively are kind of scripted to what the defense has shown on tape. And then kind of as you go throughout the game, it kind of shows, okay, what are they doing to us? What is different than what we have seen on tape? And so I think that, you kind of have that growing process, right? That first drive, maybe, they played more coverages, less coverages, more man, less man than they normally do. And so I think, Coach Lashley is one of the best, play callers in the country. So it just takes him a little bit to kind of, okay, this is what they're doing. This is how we can utilize this. Kevin seeing things and really guys just, relaxing, right? And I think the first drive, you always got some butterflies. Usually takes getting hit to get those butterflies out. But I was pleased with what I've seen from the offense today. And I thought that they made strides moving forward with Chris Johnson having a Brashard Smith-esque kind of game, right? The making people miss, the, touchdown looks like Pitt. Almost, I think it was going into the same end zone, I would say. And so just a great game from him. Pleased with that. The running backs are looking good. TJ Harden's always going to, bruise somebody, ended up getting somebody hurt later in the game. But, that's kind of what this SMU offense has always been traditionally, right? A guy that's a bigger back, whether that was Tyler Levine, whether that was LJ Johnson, with a guy that can run, whether that was Rooster, 2023, Brashard last season, kind of that 1-2 punch. And I think that SMU has kind of settled in on who that 1-2 punch is.
Well, there was no 1 or 2 as far as turnovers for SMU. It was just 0. Big number there for SMU to put that together going into this Clemson game. Dean, Kevin Jennings, first game this year without an interception. That's something where now, okay, you could see it come together. This is a Stanford pass defense that has struggled throughout the year, but for him to not put the ball on the ground or get it picked off, that's a big step in the right direction.
No, it's absolutely huge. And when you look at the TCU and Syracuse games, those came at the end of the game too. So he was so close. But now he finally gets over the finish line too. And especially when, Coach Lashley talked about it, when Syracuse and Stanford now the last couple of weeks are going to make a point of, you're not going to beat us over the top. You're not going to have that huge 75-yard explosive play. You're going to have to beat us with the short, to intermediate passing game. It's really hard to not try and force something when you just have to keep settling. But Kevin Jennings did a great job today, taking what the defense gave him and, led the offense in a day where the running game had really what the passing game is. So some of those explosive plays, but some of those bad plays as well.
Yeah, the run game today I thought was interesting because you have the explosive play before the end of the first half, which is, if you're – and look, we've talked about it on the postgame show before you've arrived with us a lot, but at the end of half, it is when SMU's on offense, and in particular when the other team's getting the ball, Rhett Lashley has a tendency to kind of play a little bit of I'm sure analytics behind it as far as, okay, a run on this down. They took it down to the 2-minute warning or 2-minute timeout, whatever you want to call it in college football. And then they kind of hit a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I think there was maybe, another play called right before then. And they're kind of bleeding the clock a little bit. And people are like, this offense is so quick strike. What is going on here? And to eventually Rhett's kind of mindset of that analytics, Stanford is able to respond to the big play and get down the field and score, which you don't want to see as a defense, of course. That was a tough end of the half, but that's kind of why you try to play those clock management games, and the run game of SMU came alive for a play with Chris Johnson breaking that big run. That is the type of speed that we kind of saw in the spring from him, and Derek McFall making those big plays in the spring against this defense. And that was what had a lot of people excited about their future in the offense. And we got a glimpse of him making those big plays. On the flip side of that defense, that was the one drive that throughout the entire game that you're just like, wow. And Rhett kind of addressed it. Mod's got to make a play there. And it's not on him the whole drive, but he had an opportunity there.
100%. Those are kind of the growing pains that we've kind of gone accustomed to seeing the past couple of games, where situationally we could be a little bit better, right? And I know coaching staff to player, like they're going to take accountability for that. And, it's 35 seconds left. They have 2 timeouts. Like, let's just make them, earn the field, right? Instead of trying to, give up an explosive play or, maybe in the next time just go for the PBU compared to trying to get an interception if you're a mod. Just because, at the end of the day, the worst possible thing that can happen is a touchdown, right? And so just learning from those experiences, kind of knowing when to take your shots, when to take your risk, but also knowing, okay, like, let's just stay on top, let the clock bleed. They don't, get positive plays. They're probably just going to take a knee, and then we'll go into the half, not giving up a touchdown. So I think this defense will grow from it, learning experience. But, give up one touchdown for the whole game. I know Coach Simons, wants to, have a shutout or a field goal or 3. But, looking at the totality of the game, I think they did a good job.
Well, I can tell you, I mean, driving down the field, watching that one, that's where you kind of get that not sick feeling if you're an SMU fan watching that, because you go into halftime and you had played such a strong game defensively up to that point for the most part, and to have a touchdown on the board that kind of probably fired up the locker room a little bit and ticked everybody off, I'm sure, on the defensive side. And they came out and they were able to get stops. And I think that was huge, as the offense was able to, put points up on the board and kind of extend this lead and put this thing kind of not to bed, because Stanford was very, very pesky. They had some long drives. They possessed the ball. They grinded it out a little bit. And SMU was able to kind of counter a few times. But I can tell you what, guys, SMU likes to fly down the field. Yeah. And when you get a new vehicle, sometimes you just want to drive down the road and go flying in that new car. And we encourage you to check out our friends at the Thomas Auto Group up in McKinney. You can head up 75. If you went north right now in Dallas, you might be able to go pretty fast up that way, because the Red River rivalry is going on right now, so the streets are a little quiet. Head up 75 to McKinney, visit Ford, Subaru, Volkswagen, and Mitsubishi dealerships from our friends at the Thomas Auto Group. Mention on the Pony Express and get employee pricing on new and pre-owned vehicles. Just saw Brandon Thomas this week. He's excited. The holiday season is upon us. It's time to start planning for that new vehicle. But Dean, a question for you from Probation Coach in the chat. We appreciate all you guys watching on YouTube, Twitter, and wherever you're catching us. Make sure you hit that follow button and like. But we'll get to Jonathan's response here in just a second. But is there anything that this team hasn't shown you that you are waiting to see still?
It's a very good question. I think, we've talked about the complementary football, and maybe you saw that in like the second quarter against Syracuse. So no, again, I guess the easiest answer is consistency for a full 60 minutes, but I'm also not convinced any team in the country is playing a full 60 minutes. And so I think
you just lost.
Right at home to Pitt, and Ole Miss certainly didn't have their best game. So there are just maybe some unreal expectations for a team that has a lot of new players, right? The 42 out of 85 new players. And so I'd say consistency is the one thing, but I'm not sure you're really ever going to get a full 60-minute game.
Yeah. So same question to you, and then I'll follow up.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Dean. I think that's a perfect, realistic expectation to have for this team. There is times where I think the biggest thing is when the offense is struggling, you want to make sure the defense is on. And when the defense is struggling as an offense, you need to make sure that you guys are on. In special teams, you can't have plays that hurt you, right? You can't have blocking the backs on kickoffs. You can't have offsides on PATs or field goals that gives the offense, a short field when your defense is struggling. So I would just say complementary football that way. I don't think, offense, defense, special teams is always going to be firing. But realistically, if the offense is struggling, that's when the defense needs to play better. If the defense is struggling, that's when your offense and special teams need to play better. So I would say for me, just not having those drops in momentum was something that I would like to see. But, to your point, every team in the country is going to have ups and downs. It's just about who can stay consistent for the long haul.
And and this is a broader discussion from our friends on the Pony Express message board. So again, make sure you join us over there. But I wanted to get your take, because you're around these guys, you're fresh off your playing career. The NIL, the distractions, the social media across college football. This is not an SMU thing.
Yeah.
Right? Getting guys to be as locked in as maybe the 1980s were, or the 90s, or the early 2000s, like when all of these different things weren't there.
Yeah.
And I mean, guys always have distractions, but is it that much? Is it harder, or is it just a new team still trying to gel a little bit too?
Yeah, I think,
and as a whole across college football.
Yeah, I think it's both. I would say when it is new pieces and new people coming into the mix, you have to learn kind of each other, right? You have that process of, okay, like, how does this guy respond? How does this guy take coaching? How can I make his playing style even that much better? But on the flip side, social media is, everybody says, you don't look at it, but if somebody tags you, you get a notification on your phone. Like, unless you have like I don't even know, not even an Android, but like
I don't know how
Androids
work.
If you have like a flip phone, that's the only way you can truly like be away from distractions. So I think that's just a part of, sports nowadays. You see it in, the NBA level with people responding to people tweeting at them. Kevin Durant is a huge guy that responds to people, his hecklers on Twitter. So I think it's kind of just the new age of sports nowadays. And, guys can be mature about it. You see things, try not to let it internalize, right? Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't necessarily take somebody's advice or somebody's criticism if you wouldn't go to them for that advice, right? So I think that's kind of what, you kind of have to deal with this new age of college sports.
And look, for SMU now, the main thing is 2-0 in ACC play, sets up a big game at Clemson. Before we get to players of the game, what are your kind of early thoughts on that, and Dean as well? This has probably been sitting in, for some of these players, and I'm sure you too. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, I think it's another chance and another opportunity to kind of try to right what had happened last season, but also continue to stay on that climb that we're going on right now. You're 2-0. Everything's in front of you. Florida State just lost again, right? So as long as you handle business, you should be playing in that game in Charlotte. And so I think this is just another opportunity for the guys on the team to go out and, continue to try to chase that standard and chase the momentum that Coach Lashley has been building up until this point. And so I'm excited to see Clemson, although it might be, quote unquote, a down year, they're going to get up for this one, right? You get an opportunity to say, hey, they shouldn't have, cut it. SMU shouldn't have came back. SMU gets the opportunity. Well, Clemson, you shouldn't have been in the lead in the first place, right? So I think this is going to be an interesting game. Coach Sweeney's going to do a great job. He's going to have those guys ready. It's a home game for them. And so I know Coach Lashley is going to do the same with us at SMU. So I'm really excited to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, same with me. I think when you look, obviously the talent's there. No matter what their record is, the talent is there. They pick up a comfortable win against North Carolina last week. Got another game they should win this week. The only thing I'd say, too, is these past two games, SMU was heavily favored, right? I mean, these were games SMU had to win.
Mm-hmm.
This is now a chance to go prove where you are, because as much as fans want to see SMU run up the score or whatever, their perspective of the team really isn't going to change that much in a game like this. So when you go on the road and you play in a impressive environment in Death Valley, it's a chance to go prove yourself to SMU fans, but also on a bigger stage.
Well, and to your point, this is a game you had to have, but you also had to be careful. PJ Williams did not play. He's been banged up. He was cleared at the last minute and just was held out. And that's the right thing to do, because you're trying to get ready for what is a massive game at Clemson. And Jermico Green had a family matter that he was attending to, so you didn't have your number 2 running back. And look, I'll lead off the player of the game. I am rolling with Chris Johnson Jr., having that really breakout game, 5 carries, 96 yards. Also had the long touchdown, but also two receptions, 42 yards, and the touchdown as well. So just being able to be that versatile guy, be explosive. I think this one meant a lot. And sometimes when guys get opportunities, there's another guy you're going to talk about who is getting a lot of deserved flowers over the last couple of weeks. So as guys get their opportunities, it's about taking advantage of them. 100%. And there's so many different players on the team that you can kind of point to this year that you're kind of starting to see the wheels really turn for them. And to your point about build, that's where, okay, if SMU is going to have an explosive Chris Johnson Jr. to pair with TJ Harden, and Jermico Green looks talented, and Derek McFall's giving you what he's giving you now 100%. In his new role, those are all things that, as long as they keep building and you can find a way, like next week, this coming week, to win, then you got a chance to kind of keep the thing snowballing in the right direction. And that's where then you look up maybe in November, and after Spooktober is over, maybe it's a huge game here in Dallas, November 1. So my player of the game, presented by Socorro Tequila, is Chris Johnson Jr.
I'm going to flip over to the defensive side, and you hinted at it, a guy who's really stepped up his game these last couple of weeks, Brandon Miazono. Of course, had the interception against Syracuse last week, and this week a number of tackles, including a sack, a huge, really impressive pass breakup too on 3rd and goal. That was leading up to the Stanford 4th and goal where they got stuffed. So great concentration by him, not letting that tight end fully slip behind him. And, this is what you get when you have the injuries to Kilgore and Barker and guys like Miazono and Medlock, who also had a huge play today, and they get those reps early on in the season. Well, now you're seeing it pay off when these guys are making big time plays.
Before you get to yours, I do want to shout out Sam Keltner. 2 big field goals. He had the 1 miss hit where it was a short kickoff. It just got returned out to the 30, but he's been putting him in the back of the end zone. Kicks a short field goal, which is good. Get the confidence going, and then Rhett Lashley gets him out there for the 48-yarder, and he bangs it through. We know he's had the leg. It's not been that, and for him to get that was a big deal for this team.
100%. And for me, I'm gonna stay on the defensive side. I'm gonna stay with my DBs, of course. And I'm gonna give a huge shout out to Marcellus Barnes. I think in the past couple of games where Deuce Harmon's kind of moved towards the slot, and now Marcellus has had the opportunity to get more snaps. We talk about guys getting opportunities. Marcellus, another guy that got an interception last week versus Syracuse. But this week, I feel like he's done his job at a high level, right? He didn't give up any explosive plays, was on top, and was very, very physical. He made a lot of physical plays. That forced fumble was one of the best hits I've seen from this SMU defense so far this season. Knocks it out. He came up, got a lot of hits. And a lot of action, I would say. And I think that he's doing a great job. A young guy who hasn't had a lot of snaps, in his college career, but I can tell that Coach Hundley and Coach Simons are really starting to trust in him, and he's playing with confidence, talking smack, talking noise, trying to be like Brandon Crossley for years prior for our Mustang fan base. So I was excited about Marcellus. I thought he had a great game.
You could hear that hit. I mean, like you heard it. Yeah. I heard it across the stadium. So, yeah. I mean, it was loud. So maybe the social media team will pop that one out there because that was a good pop for Marcellus Barnes, who came in with a lot of, praise. I mean, a lot of people talked him up from a leadership perspective and a mentality perspective like you. Yeah. So that's very high praise coming in, and now he's emerging, and the secondary will be tested against these Clemson wide receivers, but we will have a lot of time to talk about that, gentlemen. And look, this has been a great post-game show. We really appreciate all of you guys out there on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, even watching with us, chatting with us in the comments section as well. We really appreciate you guys clicking that follow button, that subscribe button, wherever you catch us at, and tuning in with us. We will be live at Clemson next weekend. So we'll be boots on the ground there, and we're excited about that. And hope you guys are tuned in for that post-game show no matter the result. But we will be on the road, and SMU now gets a 2-0 in ACC play, 4-2 overall on the year, in a day and age where there's all sorts of weird results going on across college football. Did we get a Penn State update on shout out Preston Stone? Or let's see right now. Let me see.
14-10 at the half.
Before we sign off here, I do want to shout out Preston Stone. He had him. 13. All right, 14-13 Penn State. Looks like halftime right now. So Preston Stone trying his best to be the second SMU quarterback to get a win today. So got him right in the mix for that one. So for Jonathan McGill, Dean Ralsky, I'm Billy Embody. Thanks for tuning in with us on the After Stangs Show. Make sure you guys reach out to Northwest Insurance Agency, Mark Villasana, and 214-352-5656, or email them info@nwagencies.com. And thank you to all our sponsors for supporting us. We'll catch you guys next week. It's going to be a huge week on the site and on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on, because SMU Clemson, the rematch, is finally here.
It's Tom.
Yep. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU_on3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.